Hey everybody, Healthy Prepper here. Let's talk about the feet and SHTF events. I've been reading some of these post-apocalyptic SHTF fiction books, and almost all of them seem to have this quest that the person goes on, which requires a long journey by foot. And it seems to me that a lot of the books skip the essence of the importance of good foot care and good foot health while you're walking, and a lot of the different situations that you're going to face along the way. One of the most dangerous things that you're going to face is constant moisture in a shoe, or the rubbing of a shoe, or the fungal infection that occurs because of the moisture in the shoe, or dry, cracked feet, cracked soles from a lot of pressure walking for miles and miles. So let's just go over some basic tips here on how you can keep your feet healthy anytime, but also especially post an SHTF event. Okay, so there you are on your long journey, hiking for miles and miles. You could be going from California to Florida for all we know. Okay, so we've got the setup. Now, first thing you're going to want is a good pair of shoes or boots, depending on the terrain you're going to be covering. And you're going to want something with a stronger sole as opposed to a flexible sneaker sole. Nothing wrong with sneakers, but they cause your foot to bend a lot more, and it puts a lot of stress on your plantar fascia, or the tendon that runs along the bottom of the foot, and that's going to, you can sustain damage to that tendon over time if you're doing a lot of walking. So a foot in a good solid shoe is highly recommended, something that covers the foot entirely and that is extremely comfortable and that is not brand new. So that you don't have to break it in on this journey. Another thing you might want to consider are orthotics. I had these made by a podiatrist. They are cast molded to my feet and sent into a company where they actually take the arch and all the heel measurements and everything. I've had these things forever, but my feet feel so much better when I'm doing long hikes with these in my shoes. And another little thing that is good for the feet, if you haven't discovered these little babies yet, is these memory foam insoles. They're antibacterial, they say, but this is basically like a Tempur-Pedic mattress. If you've ever laid on one of those, they're really comfortable. They shock absorb a lot equally across the bottom, and I found these in Ross for $2.99 and fell in love with them, and I stick them in all my sneakers and hiking shoes now. I actually put it right under the orthotic, but that's up to you. Just an extra layer of comfort there. Another thing you want to think about, have a pair of dry, clean socks with you in your bug-out bag, on your person if you're hiking, because one of the biggest dangers is moisture. Moisture will allow fungal infections to occur, as well as friction will increase, and when you get the pruning of the feet because of excess moisture, rubbing can occur and it can cause all sorts of problems. Okay, so some just basic things to have on hand if you're a prepper. You always want to have a few foot tools around. Your toenail clipper, you always want to make sure that your toenails are addressed. Now, you may need help with this depending on your current health status. If you're not able to bend down and cut your own toenails, you need to get somebody to do this for you, or you need to take care of this yourself. You don't want to cut too sharp in the corners so that you end up giving yourself an ingrown toenail, kind of straight across the top with slightly rounded corners so you don't cause any problems there at the edges. Okay. And you might want to get this little guy too. This helps cut away some of the dead skin along the top if you've got buildup of that. Obviously, you need to be careful with these devices. Don't cut too deep. You will know if you go too deep. You will not do that again, I promise. This will also get rid of any hangnails or cuticles that are hanging. All right. One of the big problems with anybody who's doing footwork a lot, hikers, runners, this happens to Hobby Prepper and I all the time, especially me. I get heel cracks, and if you've ever had the skin on the bottom of your heel crack, it can be very painful. And what happens is the more you walk and the more pressure you apply to the foot, the deeper the cracks get. So until you handle that thick, dead skin along the edge of the heel, it's going to continue to crack. So there's a couple ways to handle that. There's actually many ways to handle it, but One of my favorite ways is you take a shower, the skin down there is really soft, and you use this little device, which you can get in any dollar store. Basically, it's a little, let me show you closer. It's a little abrasive device. Almost looks like something you'd scrub a vegetable with. But it just scrapes off the dead tissue. And so you do this around your heel until that dead tissue comes off. And this is you use on wet feet, okay? Rinse it off, carry on. Rinse it off, carry on until you have a nice smooth surface. You don't want to go again too deep, or you will get down to raw, fresh skin, and you don't want to damage the raw, fresh skin. You want to leave like a little bit of dead skin on there so you have some buffer against you in the world. Okay, the next thing you may have seen these little gizmos out there, and don't laugh before I pull out the petty egg, but basically this is, yep, it looks like a vegetable peeler, and pretty much that's what it is. You use this on dry feet, and you can scrape those dry, cracked heels or those bunion areas to shave that dead skin down. That's very important. Okay, so you want to make sure that your feet are always in tip-top shape, and you need these devices around to make sure that you keep them in good shape. Now, as you're treating these dry, cracked heels, a good thing to help them heal a little bit faster is some form of either lotion or foot cream, or if you don't have anything else, good old petroleum jelly will work. Even olive oil will work with a pair of socks. Just be careful, wear a pair of slippers so you don't go sliding away. But this will definitely help soften that skin a little bit more and help reduce the cracking. A lot of times if those cracks get deep enough, they can bleed, and they can also get fungal infections inside of them, so that's a concern. Now, to keep the shoes fresh and healthy and as dry as possible, you want to use some type of powder. You can use, this is a regular body powder from the dollar store, or you can get like Desitin foot powder, which has antifungal properties to it as well. That will work, and just sprinkle it in, liberally every day, and especially in an SHTF long hike situation when you want to put some of that in your shoes every day. If you do encounter a blister, a sore, a crack, something that looks like athlete's foot, you need to get on it right away. You don't wait. If you feel a hot spot, if you feel an irritation, an itch, something doesn't feel right in the shoe, address it right away. I learned this from hiking. When you're going to be going many miles, you do not delay treatment. Okay, so basically you're going to be dealing with two different kinds of wounds. You're going to be dealing with regular infections, and then you're going to be dealing with fungal infections. So with fungal infections, you want to use some type of antifungal remedy, and this can be anything from fancy antifungal creams. I just got this clotrimazole cream at Walmart, and it was marked down to 88 cents. This is actually for jock itch, but it's an antifungal, and it will work against other fungal infections. So you can smear this between the toes and around the toenail beds. That will help a little bit there. You can also get specific ones for the feet, for athlete's foot. There's a lot of different varieties out there. Now, a couple natural remedies. We've had this around forever. It's a tea tree healing balm, and basically it is tea tree oil, which is a very good antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial essential oil. And it comes in a, well, this is just the way this one particularly came, in an ointment base. But if you don't have this particular tea tree healing balm, you can make your own. If you purchase some tea tree essential oil, which you can get at a lot of, new age shops and healthcare shops and stuff like that, and mix it with a little bit of petroleum jelly. And you don't want to make it too strong, but you want to make it so you can smell the tea tree in the ointment, and then just put it in a little jar, and you can just use that and apply it to in between the toes or on the bottom of the heels or around the nail beds. Okay, and here's peppermint and tea tree foot powder I came across, which is also a nice combination. You can mix peppermint essential oil with tea tree oil with cornstarch and use that as a very nice foot powder. That's a natural way to do things. Okay. If you do have a blister, the general consensus is if you're going to be going long miles, you're going to want to pop the blister. Now, I know this goes against a lot of what people think. A blister is a good thing. It's a buffer between you and the irritant, and yes, that's how Mother Nature designed it, to give you a cushion so that you stop irritating the tissue below. The problem is Mother Nature figured that if she gives you a painful enough blister, you're going to stop walking. And in an SHTF scenario, you may have to keep walking. So this is what runners and hikers do, and you know, there's myriads of ways to handle these situations, but what I found in my travels hiking is that it's best to lance the blister and treat it. And what I like to treat it with initially is triple antibiotic ointment. Okay. And you can decide whether you want to cover it or not. Often covering it with a bandage of some sort is going to give more relief. You'll find that when the blister is full of fluid, it's going to be a lot more painful than when after you pierce it. You obviously want to lance it with something clean, or as clean as possible. Okay, there's something called hamburger feet for when people run for many, many miles. Their feet look chewed up almost like hamburger meat, and they're very wet and moist and gnarly, and the toes have been rubbing together, and other toenails have been digging into adjacent toes, and just there are blisters all over that have been torn open or ripped open, and really nasty. I mean, you don't ever want to get to the stage of hamburger feet or hamburger meat feet. You want to get these situations in check way before that. It's going to limit your ability to protect yourself and whoever you're with, so you definitely want to take that into account. Now, if you do sustain an abrasion or a cut, or let's say a stick or a stone, or an insect bite or something like that occurs where it might be a regular type of infection and not fungal, then my personal standby is good old wash it with hydrogen peroxide and then apply triple antibiotic ointment and a bandage. And then you're going to want to, you know, as often as you can, change the bandage. This may or may not be as easy to do. After an SHTF situation, you may not have 100 bandages around. You may have to work with what you have. So you're going to have to really, you know, spread your resources out there as you go. So those are just some tips and ideas. I'm sure that you guys have more, and there's certainly a lot of great ways to take care of foot health after a post-SHTF event has occurred and you're on your long hike to somewhere very important to you or away from some really bad stuff. So I would love to hear it. I'd love to learn from you guys as well. So please feel free to post your comments down below. And let's talk about the feet today. So these are the toe tips of the day. Take care, everyone. Happy and healthy prepping.